Good afternoon, Sweets and Snack Expo exhibitors. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to log into this special exhibitor webinar in preparation for the upcoming expo. We're going to cover a lot of content in a very fast pace here this afternoon. A few things before we start. Number one, be sure to download your e-workbook. This is a hear it, see it, write it, and do it type webinar. You can access it on the control panel on the screen. If you're viewing this in replay mode, you'll be able to download it from the web page. Second, audio. You'll be in listen-only mode, but you can and definitely should submit questions. The moment a question flashes into your mind, you'll see on your console a questions box. Type your question, press send. We'll stop at the halfway point and again at the end of the webinar and take all questions. So thanks for logging in. Let's get this started.
Good afternoon. I'm Larry Wilson, the Vice President of Industry Affairs for NCA. I have the privilege of working with you, the executive of NCA's Sweets and Snacks Expo Committee, and the NCA team you'll hear from today to make this event the leading event of its kind in the Americas. First and foremost, on behalf of NCA, thank you for your commitment to exhibiting at the Sweets and Snacks Expo. We value your participation as it helps make this event vibrant, innovative, and relevant to the industry's valued customers. Welcome to this session entitled Increasing Brand Awareness and Driving Qualified Booth Traffic. It's really all about leveraging integrated marketing to attract enough of the right attendees to your exhibit. Now, we hope that the next hour will be transformational in maximizing your investment and generating enthusiasm and incremental sales for your business. Now, we've created this session and developed the new resources you'll see today because we respect the challenges you face in this highly competitive environment where we've seen consumers making really hard choices that can impact your business. We also know those consumer trends have had many companies operating in what has become a zero-based budget environment where every investment dollar needs to work really hard for you in developing both your current business and finding new avenues for growth. Now, we care about your success. This is about helping you learn some new things and have access to some new resources that can help you be even more successful in the coming year following participation in May. We realize that you joined us today with widely varying levels of experience in trade shows. So we hope that whatever your experience, you'll be able to take away 3 or 4 things that you and your team will help in your business. We also hope that you find value in the resources shown here on the new exhibitor resource dashboard for your benefit in providing you ways to enhance your company's productivity associated with the event. And we'll talk about those a little bit later. So with that, I wanted to begin by introducing today's speaker. We are pleased to have Jefferson Davis, the founder and president of Competitive Edge. In his more than 30 years of trade show industry, he has worked with hundreds and hundreds of shows. As a result, he's learned many things that he's translated into the best practices we'll share with you today that help exhibitors maximize their brand investment. So as for today's agenda, first we're going to hear from Jefferson about those best practices. Then the NCA team will join you to share and show you how to access some of those resources specific to the expo. And then Jefferson will come back again to join you with some activation tips on how to blend both his best practices with the resources that the NCA team is sharing with you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jefferson Davis. Jefferson?
All right. Thank you, Larry. And again, thanks to everybody who's logged in. You know, the focus today is how, as an exhibitor, competing in a big show with over 750 exhibiting companies, how do you really increase your visibility and your awareness, and how do you drive qualified booth traffic? That's what we really want to dive into today. And pre-marketing your exhibit is no longer a, oh, I would like to if I could find the time or the money. It's a critical success factor. It is literally a must-do. And one of the big reasons why it's a must-do is not just the competitive nature of trade shows, but attendee behaviors have changed rapidly, and a lot of exhibitors haven't adapted to these changes. So your average attendee today is spending fewer number of physical days at a show. Now, that doesn't mean they don't value shows. In fact, the job titles of who's attending and they're going to attend. They know what social events they're going to go to. They know where their blocks of time in the exhibit hall are. They have a hit list of exhibitors, and they organize them in must see, should see, nice to see. So they're really planning their agenda. And the average attendee, now this is not a Sweets and Snacks Expo statistic, but this is a North American business-to-business trade show average. I suspect that the number's higher at the Sweets and Snacks Expo. But the average attendee visits 26 to 31 exhibits on average, okay? And half of those stops are pre-planned. Okay, so this is really important stuff for us to process and think about. And in spite of all this, what I'm sharing with you here, we're still finding today that less than 20% of exhibitors are really executing a well-conceived pre-show marketing plan. You know, one of my mentors early told me, he said, Jefferson, if you want to succeed, find out what people and companies that struggle are doing, and don't do that, right? And so if 80% of your competition's going to rent space, show up, and hope that it works for them, you know how to get serious competitive advantage, and that's what we're talking about today. So let's talk about marketing, you know, at a high level. You know, the keys to marketing success by one of the great business thinkers in North America, Mr. Jim Rohn. Jim said, you know, the key to marketing success is, number one, you got to have something good to say. Just sending out an email saying, visit Competitive Edge at booth 2484 is not going to cut it, right? They've got their finger on the delete button. So you have to really think through your content and have something good to say. And then you got to say it well. The way you articulate your messaging through all the different media, from advertising to direct mail to social media to print media to your exhibit graphics. You have to articulate it and say it well. And then you got to say it often. Once is never enough. Not in today's overcluttered market. And I'm going to add something to Jim's comment, which would be say it through multiple media and multiple channels. You know, none of us really know for sure what all of our customers, what channels they're paying attention to. So we got to say it through as many channels as possible. And that brings us to the integrated marketing strategy. And the center of this graphic is your customer. So how many media do you use? How many media are you using? I would like you in your workbook to put a quick check mark by how many of these media you now use to promote your participation in trade shows. Okay, and we did a poll, and we found that here's the results from our poll of Sweets and Snacks Expo exhibitors. You'll see that the majority of exhibitors use 1 to 2 media. We have the second number in the 3 to 4 range, and only one in the 7+ range. So the question that I get asked a lot is, how many media should I use to market my exhibit? And my answer is, as many media as your time and your skill set and your budget will allow you. The more, the merrier. You're trying to create this omnipresence. Everywhere they look, there you are. So the more media, the better, okay? So let's get into the nuts and bolts of how to actually think and work and plan and put together your exhibit marketing plan. And this is a process that I've developed and refined over 25 years of working with exhibitors. And oftentimes, this process is the difference between a highly successful exhibit or just kind of getting by or maybe struggling at the show. So we're going to walk you through these 7 steps right down the line. So let's jump into number 1. It always begins with your reasons and your goals. Okay, so I'd like to ask you right now, participating in this webinar, what are you trying to accomplish? Why are you exhibiting? You may have more than 3, but try to narrow it down to 3. And the way I like to think about it is, if I could only accomplish one thing, what would that be? Now, if I could add a second thing, what would that be? And if I could add a third thing, what would that be? And that way you've got your top 3, and you also have them in a hierarchy or priority. You see, because as you'll see as we talk through the different media and how to put together your plan, that certain media support certain objectives better than others. And that'll all come together as we work through this today. So right now in your workbook, I want you to identify your top 3 exhibiting goals. Okay, so that's why you're exhibiting. Let's get into our second step. We want to define who are the right people for you. And step 2 is creating your ideal visitor profile. So you'll notice on the screen here that NCA tracks the attendees by trade channel, right? And the number of outlets. And these are 2 really good selects for you as a starting point to begin to, kind of pare down the list. Because you might think that everybody that comes to the Sweets and Snacks Expo is your target visitor, but in reality, they're probably not. So the clearer you get on who you want to see, the better you're going to be able to craft messaging, and the better you're going to be able to use media to hit their information bullseye. So think about the trade channels. Think about where they're geographically located. Think about the job titles and the function of the person. And think about the number of outlets or the size. And size could be in annual revenue, number of employees also, and anything else that you would use to define. So what I want you to do is get together with your team right after this webinar as soon as possible and in writing, create your ideal visitor profile. Now, there's another thing I want you to do under identifying your target visitors, and this is what we call the customer, prospect, suspect triangle. So what you want to do is you should never go into a key trade show like Sweets and Snacks Expo without reaching out and touching your customers, whether you think they're coming or not, okay? Because this is the time when the competition is knocking at the door the loudest, okay? And there's different reasons why you would invite your customers. Maybe it's just relationship management. Maybe it's probing for additional opportunity within the account. Maybe it's keeping your ears to the ground for change. Who's coming, who's going, new stores being opened, maybe stores being closed down. Maybe it's advocacy. Maybe it's pairing a champion customer that loves you and loves your products with the second side of the pyramid, which is prospects. Prospects are people that you're already in the sales dialogue, the funnel with. You have one major goal, getting them to the show and to your booth, and that is to advance them to the next step in the sales cycle. And by the way, for a lot of you, this is the low-hanging fruit where fast ROI can be found, smartly using the energy of the show and your exhibit to move prospects. And the third group is in blue, and I have this in blue because they're suspects, and it's really a profile match like we talked about. You have no meaningful engagement or dialogue, so you have one objective. Put a face with a face, open the door, get a meeting of the mind. So how do you activate this CPS triangle? Well, there's a few steps. Number 1, about 6 to 8 weeks before showtime, engage your sales team, dealers, distributors. Ask them to put together a specific list with each type of visitor. And maybe it's 10 of each. Maybe it's 5 of each. I don't know what the number is for you. But if you touch all 3 sides of the triangle, you'll have a balanced exhibiting program. Next, for your customers and your prospects, set a specific objective for the interaction and an outcome. okay? And be sure to contact them multiple times before the show, ideally 3, and it seems to work best when these 3 touches come through multiple media, like maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone call, and maybe it's a social media connection. What you're looking for in the 4th step are 2 things, a confirmed appointment or a verbal commitment to meet during the show. Okay, and I'll be honest, the hardest thing to get is the confirmed appointment, Wednesday at 10:15 a.m. But you can still get them, especially with your customers, right? But the verbal commitment is where the person says, yes, I'm going to the Sweets and Snacks Expo. Yes, I want to meet with you. Not sure what day and time, but we're definitely going to meet. And that's what you're looking for. And keep track of this too. And finally, if you have a fairly large number of sales people or dealers or distributors, consider putting a contest in play to kind of get everybody energized. Say, hey, the person that gets the highest number of their CPS list to the show and to our booth wins something. Okay, it's a great way to get excitement and activation around the CPS. Okay, so remember, these are contacts that you already have. So take advantage of the show opportunity. All right, now, under step 2, we also have to talk about building your lists. And you really have 2 resources. You have your internal resources, lists that you already have, and then you have your external resources. So let's talk about those. Okay, the best trade show lists, number 1, pre-registered attendee list. They've registered, they're planning on attending, they've shared some demographic data about themselves, which you can access. Second is either the post-show list that you get after the show, or if you were in the show last year's post-show list. The average attendee only goes to 2 shows a year, and they're pretty selective about which ones they go to. Number 3, as I just mentioned, your company database, that customer prospect suspect model. Number 4 would be maybe you've exhibited at other shows over the last 6 months or a year, and you have lists of people that visited your booth. Number 5 is anybody who has inquired into your products over the last 3, 4, 5 months, put them on the list. Your distribution channel partners, we talked about that, okay, and trade publication readership lists. Great asset for prospective visitors. So what I want you to do in step 2 here is identify your internal and external list sources. And remember, the Sweets and Snacks Expo does something most shows charge you a fortune for, and that is they give you the pre-registered attendee mailing list for free, right? And you can sort it by trade channel. Most shows will charge you $500 to $1,000 plus. It's free at this show, okay? So make sure you use it. All right, let's go to step number 3. Trade shows are really about face and next. So exhibit interaction capacity is a formula that we use to calculate how much capacity you have for face-to-face interaction. So let's do this together in your workbook right now. Okay, so the Sweets and Snacks Expo has 19 exhibiting hours. How many people are going to be standing in your booth? Well, the staffing rule of thumb is 50 square feet per staffer. So in this example, if you're in a 10 by 10 booth, 2 staffers. Now you multiply your hours and your staff to come up with your total staff hours. This is your capacity for face-to-face interaction. Now you want to select a target number of interactions per hour per staffer. 3, conservative. 4, moderate. 5, aggressive. I want you to pick one of those numbers, 3, 4, or 5, and now you have what might be one of the most important numbers you will ever understand about exhibiting, your interaction capacity. So in this example, if I'm a small exhibitor and I'm playing this conservative, I have the capacity for 114 face-to-face, one-to-one interactions in my booth. Now, if I don't like the numbers, I change the variables. Can I change the number of hours in the show? No, they're fixed. Can I change the number of booth staff? Within reason, don't put too many people. If I look into a 10 by 10 booth and see 4 people, you're going to have a big problem. It's going to be called no room for buyers. okay? And with the interactions per hour, you can increase that, but I would advise right out of the gate that you stay in that 3 to 5 range, okay? Now, I want you to go back and try to make your total list count 3 to 5 times your exhibit interaction capacity. Okay, now you're going to be positioned for great success. Okay, so what percentage of your exhibit budget do you allocate to promoting your exhibits? We did a survey of Sweets and Snacks Expo exhibitors and found that 34% are in the 1 to 5 range. 14% said 0. You had 1 that was 15%, 6 that was 15% plus. So the reason I asked you about this question is I think it's important that you understand where the trade show dollar goes and what your competition is doing. So if you look on the screen here, you'll see the pie chart, and you notice that orange slice up in the left, right? Right there. The average exhibitor is allocating 13% to advertising and promoting. My recommendation is if you want to win the game of exhibiting, find out what the average is doing and do better than that. Because of all the things that you're going to spend money on the show, from your space to your exhibit, transportation, show services, travel and entertainment, lead gathering fulfillment, staff training, of all the things, the thing that's really going to make the big difference is, do you get enough of the right people to your exhibit? So what I want you to do in step 4 here is make sure that you're allocating enough resources. So take your total show investment, write that down. Now multiply it by a minimum of 15%. And this is going to give you your exhibit promotion budget. Now, there are times when you're going to want to go above 15%. And here they are. When it's a really big show, when you've got a small booth, when you look at that floor plan and you have, you're not super excited about where you're located. When the audience who attends the show is a perfect match, these are times when you want to allocate more. And I know some of you are saying, hey, Jefferson, I hear you, man, but it's not me, it's my boss. Well, I'll tell you what, take that first slide on changing attendee behaviors and take this slide and show it to your boss and let them know that if you get enough of the right people to your booth, all these areas end up as an investment. If you don't, all these areas can end up as an expense. Okay? It's the difference between an expensive appearance or a profitable investment. Okay? So remember in step 4, let's make sure that we're allocating enough resources to really take full advantage of the show. Now, let's move into step 5 here. Okay? Remember what Jim Rohn said. Have something good to say it well. That's what we're talking about here. It's one thing to promote an exhibit. It's another thing to promote it effectively. So I want to share some ideas and best practices for you. Okay, the first job of any marketing messaging or communications that you send out, it's got to cut through the clutter and it's got to grab attention. The number one way to cut through the noise and grab attention at trade shows is NEW, new. New is one of the biggest reasons why attendees come to the show and why they hit the exhibit hall. If you've got something new, shout it from the top of the mountain. Problems. So what category sales problems might they be having? Opportunity. What sort of opportunities does visiting you and bringing your product line into their store offer? What's familiar about what you sell? What's unusual about what you sell? All of these are interruption strategies that can be folded into. And one of the great questions that I want you to get together with your sales and marketing team and find your answers to is, what situations might be happening in their operation that would prompt them to think about what you sell? If you can find 1 or 2 or 3 situations, you have got the keys to the marketing vault. And when you find these situations, all you have to do is integrate them into your pre-show marketing and, of course, your exhibit presentation to grab attention and get on their agenda. The value proposition, okay, is really what I'm searching for and trying to guide you on how to find your voice and find your value proposition. So you could take the problem approach. Tired of this, worried about that, struggling with this. Or you could take the opportunity approach. Interested in, curious about, want to learn about. Learning is a big reason they come to shows. Give us 5 minutes at the Sweets and Snacks Expo, booth 123. You'll see, you'll do, you'll learn, and you'll get. That is the framework for building the value proposition. And when you find your voice on that, you will be saying it well. Now, all you have to do is say it through as many channels as you can, which takes us to our 6th step in the process. There's a lot of stuff available, right? And you got to kind of sift through all these different marketing media options and try to pick the best combination that makes sense for you. So I want to hit the baskets or the big buckets. Number 1 is print and display advertising. So look very carefully at show-specific media and industry-specific trade publications and media. Okay, and of course on-site with display advertising too. Advertising you pay for, publicity you pray for. So you want to really put together a good product release, which we'll talk about. You want to get the media contact list. You want to put together your press kit and make sure you're engaging. Number 3, the electronic media. And wow, you have a lot of choice there, from email to internet to your website and other websites and social media and the show's mobile app, okay? And don't forget about mail. The clutter in the mailbox has gotten really light. Be where the competition isn't, and that's in the mailbox. Whether you're sending a letter or a more formal invitation or an oversized postcard, make sure to bring mail into it. And again, when you drill your list down to your profile matches, it's not that expensive. You can get a custom postcard out for about, you can get it out the door for about $1.10 a card out the door in short run 100, 200 card orders. And then finally, put the personal touch into play. Pick up the phone and call people, have your reps, dealers, distributors out in the field really talking up the expo and what you're going to be showing and presenting there. And so here's the thing. Okay, what you want to do here is have something going in all 5 of these areas. This gives you a truly integrated pre-show marketing campaign. This will catapult you in to the top 10% of exhibitors, not just in the Sweets and Snacks Expo, but honestly, any show you ever do again. It's almost like winning the game before kickoff. Okay, so NCA's got some free marketing ops available, and it doesn't get any easier than free, right? So your listing on the website is critically important, and Jen's going to talk with you a little bit about that, but that listing is a key driver into where attendees look. That pre-registered attendee mailing list sorted down by trade channel, which is free, right? You got to use that. There's a microsite that Jen's going to walk you through in a moment here, which is a really cool feature. This is one of the first shows I've ever seen that offers this. And then the media center, the ability to post your press release, your news stories. And if you got a new product, remember we said new, big drawing card, the new product award and the showcase are incredible opportunities that you got to take advantage of. And finally, be sure to tie in and use all of the NCA social media. This is where the tribe is gathering. So make sure that you're using these things. Okay, and so as you can see from this slide, there are a lot of free ops. But for those of you who are really looking to kind of, increase your brand presence, there's a lot of other opportunities available based on whatever your needs and your interests and your goals and your budget are. And so you'll see on the screen here, here's a short list of the opportunities that really range from advertising to sponsorships to digital to events and to item sampling. And you'll be learning more about these as we go on today. Okay, so we've covered like the first 6 steps of the model. What I want to do at this point is go ahead and open up the question queue. And I want everybody logged in today to think about what really, what's flashed in your mind. Type your question and press send. And then we're going to come back on the back end of the webinar and answer all questions submitted. So I'll give you just a moment to do that. All right, with that, I'm going to bring Larry Wilson back on. Larry, tell us about what's happening with NCA tools.
Well, thank you, Jefferson. We really appreciate you sharing these best practices from proven winners in the trade show world. And the key now is to integrate those with the resources that NCA is bringing to offer. Now, we're going to go through those in detail with the team, but they really kind of come in three major buckets. First, it's about engaging your new and current prospects, both in the pre-event planning process and also in the engagement with the customers in that process. It's planning, it's inviting your customers, it's conducting outreach to engage those customers, and then it's about celebrating your new products. It's through the showcase, the most innovative new product awards, and then it's really unlocking your brand potential. You know, there are opportunities around sponsorships, the magazine advertising and media, and also an area of the show floor, a new area we're calling destination retail, which enables you to bring your merchandising vehicles to draw additional attention to your product in a secondary display location where retailers go and look for what's new and how I can merchandise in retail. So those are the opportunities, and beginning with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jen Ellick, who is going to talk to you first about engaging and attracting new customers. Jen?
Yeah, thanks, Larry. You know, I'm here to talk to you about what Larry mentioned, a number of powerful online tools that Expo provides at no cost, and they'll help you attract and engage with our attendee base at Expo. So if you're one of the exhibitors that's new to us and you don't quite have your customer base, this is where your ears should perk up and you should be listening. And even if you do have a customer base, this is a way to grow your base. So here's how we can help you. After securing your booth for Expo, one of the first things you should do is fill out your show profile for the online directory listing. And this is found in your dashboard. Every exhibitor receives a show profile, and you can customize it and update it with your information. You look at the screen right now, and you can see that there's two different profiles on there. Remember that this is going to be your imprint and your unique brand for the Expo. Once it's complete, it serves to market your company's brands and products in a number of ways. Now, if you look at the two examples on the screen right now, whoops, there we go. The first one in the background, you can see that there's product categories listed, there's complete information, there's contact information, and the one in the front, it looks pretty much like nobody's visited it yet, and that's your basic information. Now, if you choose not to fill out this information, it's going to affect you in a number of ways, and you're going to lose out on some value-add opportunities. One of them is the well-publicized pre-show planner. It's used extensively by our retail attendees. They can favorite companies, products, and brands within your profile. If you have none listed, chances are you will have less booth traffic and fewer visits to your booth. Other on-site tools that use your directory information are the Expo app. It's downloaded by thousands of attendees, and also there's the show guide. And this is a complete, robust directory listing, and it's vital to your company's success at the show that you fill out your directory, because you can see how many other ways and touch points that the attendees are going to use it to find you when you're there. In addition, we've created a custom co-branded microsite that highlights you as a key partner with the Expo and provides you with the opportunity to invite your customers to the Expo at no cost. Sharing this microsite with your network is a great way to promote yourself at the event and offer your customers and prospects a complimentary registration. Currently, that's a $550 value. It can accelerate getting people from your network to meet and engage with you at the show. Now, we suggest sharing your personalized microsite with the free registration offer with your retail and wholesale contacts. You can do this in your next email blast that you send out. You can circulate it to your outside sales team, and of course, on all your social media pages. And you can access this tool from your dashboard. Now, the page that you're seeing right now is the first step for you to customize your microsite. You you can upload your logo, a company profile picture, a product, and you can manage the contacts and other key information. You can see how easy it is. There's only 4 steps to get started. And then after that, your microsite is completely shareable. There are no longer any custom lists to upload to anybody's site. Once you share it, you can track its performance in the dashboard. This is an invaluable tool that allows you to provide a real service and a discount to your customers and contacts. I should also mention that all of our speakers as well as our brokers will have access to this. So not only are you doing this, but all of our speakers and our brokers are sending it out to their contacts as well. So you can see how viral this will become once everybody is using it. There is one other option that I want to talk to you about. Unlike many other shows, one valuable tool that most other events charge you for is the attendee list. It's free at the Sweets and Snacks Expo. In March, you will have access to this year's retail attendee list from our website. This list gives you access to thousands of customer prospects who will be at the expo. Download the list, then get creative and send invitations and offers for attendees to stop by your booth. With all of these no-cost tools available to you, think of how many new leads you can acquire at the expo. Now, Karen Horan will offer insight on international promotion.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, this is Karen Horan. I am the Vice President of Global Business Development for NCA. And in planning for your participation at the Expo, and as Jefferson mentioned, we focus on global business engagement. The global audience brings big numbers to the show, with 12 to 15% of attendees from across the world. Hence, it's imperative that you plan to have your export representatives as part of your booth staff, being prepared with export pricing and brochures. While we continue to recruit from our registration list and our bordering countries, we also are hosting a targeted recruitment program, which we call our Boots on the Ground program. We looked at top confectionery markets and where we needed to engage and recruit buyers from some of the significant and emerging markets. These markets include China, South Korea, and the UK. This focused initiative concentrates on bringing top retailers, distributors, and importers, as well as niche buyers, including e-commerce, to the show. Additionally, we host a reverse trade mission. This is where we bring vetted buyers from around the world to the expo for face-to-face meetings in a speed dating style format. This year, the buyers are from 12 different countries. These buyers include importers, distributors, and retailers from around the globe. Last year, the projected sales from just these meetings was over $8 million, which is a wonderful example of the commerce that takes place during the expo. This event, the Reverse Trade Mission event, will take place on Monday, May 22nd, the day before the show opens, so feel free to contact me if you're interested to learn more. Moreover, and as you continue to hear, it is very important to complete your online profile for the show. We use this information to engage the international attendees with detailed information about your company by creating and distributing an export brochure, as well as a floor plan for exporting companies on the show floor, so the buyers can map out a route of applicable companies to visit. So thank you for your time, and remember the 3 major takeaways on the global engagement front are: include your export representatives in your booth staffing, register for the Reverse Trade Mission one-on-one meetings, and thoroughly complete your online profile. Now, back to Larry Wilson, who will tell you what's new at the Expo.
Well, this slide really says it all. It's all about new at the Sweets and Snacks Expo, whether it's new products, new ideas, or new innovations. And the very first stop for all customers to see what's new is the new product showcase. The showcase is both an online search engine where customers can search for new, add exhibitors to their agenda, and also an actual showcase built right outside the show's entrance. There will be over 300 showcase shelves purchased, and each one will have a card that customers can scan and receive an immediate email of all the items they scan, driving traffic directly to the show floor. New this year is the addition of new packaging innovation. Product development and packaging go hand in hand, and this year the showcase will highlight this important aspect of new. Post-show, exhibitors will receive a listing of all the customers that scanned their shelf. This is essentially the group of highly qualified prospects that have already expressed interest in your new products. Now, there's no deadline for purchase, yet I will say that We do sell out every year, so you'll want to get in early. If you do have questions regarding the showcase, make sure you reach out to Teresa Anthony, our Senior Director of the Expo, as she'll be glad to help you get the products set up in the new product showcase. Another way that celebrates new is through the show's highly coveted Most Innovative New Product Award. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jen Ellick to tell you more about how these awards work. Jen?
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, let's talk about the Most Innovative New Product Awards. This is where you can have your new products taste tested by the industry's top retailers and receive their feedback. No other show offers that. Now in its 6th year, Expo's Most Innovative New Product Awards recognizes the best and most innovative new items in the candy and snack categories. All items submitted are rated by a panel of top retailers and industry food experts that make up about 85% of the U.S. buying power, and they're weighted on there's 4 criteria that the panel judges on, including taste and packaging, and their weighted criteria. Nominees are showcased on site and winners are revealed during a special standing room only ceremony at the Expo. Many past winners and nominees who jump-started their business at Expo went on to become multi-million-dollar companies serving major retailers including Costco, Target, and Starbucks. You could be the recipient of the most coveted Best in Show award, and all you have to do is enter. We do have some new features for our awards this year, including the new category Small Business Innovator. This is specially designed to call out companies with net sales of $500,000 and under, so those incubating companies just starting in the industry have a chance to shine and gain recognition along with well-established companies. So any of you small businesses out there, I really do urge you to join our awards. It's only $150 per submission. The showcase also has a new location in the hustle and bustle of the concourse, right outside the major show entrance, so you'll be sure to get lots of traffic. In addition, the awards ceremony now kicks off the show opening with a mimosa toast, revealing and celebrating the 9 segment winners, including the Best in Show and Small Business Innovator Award. You can also view and visit all 45 nominated products by using your app at the Expo. No other show offers this feature. Treat yourself to a walking tour of the industry's hottest, trendiest, and newest items using our app. We've made it even easier than ever to track down your next bestseller. With all these enhancements, benefits, and new features, you cannot miss submitting your new product to the Most Innovative New Product Award. And now, let's hand it over to Arlene Davis to talk to you about sponsorship.
Hi there, I'm Arlene Davis, Senior Director of Meetings and Events, and we are just delighted that you've chosen the Sweets and Snacks Expo to exhibit in. It is the best show for the confectionery industry, and you know, you've heard today, you now know you've completed your list of who you need to see at the show. You've set goals for those. You have completed your directory listing and made sure people can find you, and you have decided that you have a new product to enter in the showcase and made that investment. And now, what's next to make sure that you stand out amongst the 750 exhibitors that are at Expo? Well, we call it sponsorship. I say it's improving your imprint on the show. Go from a footprint of your 10 by 10 to your imprint so that the attendees can see you in more places than just that exhibit. You can go from a small investment and advertisement all the way to banners and a simple thing like a sampling of your product so that you put your product in the attendees' hands. There's multiple ways that we have to help you grow that imprint. And if you look, Jefferson noted that a number of exhibitors do not really invest and do not think about that. They buy their booth and they kind of leave it at that. So take a look at all that we have to offer. Remember, we want to make you look good, and we want to make sure that you are getting the attendees to your booth. And this is just one additional way you can do it. Just add some sponsorship and get your brand out there. So please give me a call or send me an email. I would love to help you increase that imprint at the Sweets and Snacks Expo. Look forward to seeing you, and I will now hand it over to VJ. VJ, take it away.
Thanks, Arlene. I'm VJ Mayer with NCA, and I want to talk to you about opportunities with candy and snack today. Candy and Snack Today and the Candy and Snack Today Show Daily are the publications of the Sweets and Snacks Expo. We're the official magazines of the Expo and the only publications with full access to the show and all of the attendees. Other publications are not the official publications, even if they claim to be. Does advertising in the show daily drive attendees to your booth? Every year we have exhibitors tell us that attendees come to their booths with a magazine in hand saying that they saw the ad and needed to see the product. So yes, it does work. Your partnership with Candy and Snack Today also gets you preferred editorial consideration. What does that mean exactly? We receive hundreds of submissions for products being featured at the Expo looking for coverage in our magazine, but with limited space, we can't include them all. Submissions from companies that are partnering with us move to the top of the list. Next slide, please. Candy and Snack Today and the Show Daily are also the only publications that have distribution throughout McCormick Place, including all of the attendee lounges, the entrance to the show floor, the shuttle bus drop-off area, and registration. We offer a range of advertising opportunities to design to fit the budgets of companies of all sizes. Ads in the magazine start at just under $2,300, and ads in the Show Daily starting at $750, which includes all 3 days of the show. Ads in both the magazine and the daily include, at no additional cost, our digital publications with a link to your website from your ad. You also get booth signage calling you out as an advertiser with an image of your ad on the sign. Adding to the excitement this year and increasing reader interest is the updated design that will launch at the Expo. For more information, I encourage you to contact Teresa Tarantino at ptarantino@propressinc.com or at 216-631-8200. Now I'd like to turn it over to Susan Whiteside, who will talk to you about other media opportunities at the Sweets and Snacks Expo.
Thanks, BJ. I'm Susan Whiteside, and I handle on-site media relations for the Expo. BJ is correct in that CST and the Show Daily are the only official publications at Expo, but there are hundreds of local, national, global, and trade media who attend the show for coverage. In fact, in 2016, the Expo generated more than 200 million media impressions. We saw coverage from the Today Show, the Associated Press, Chicago Tribune. All the local network affiliates created broadcast packages to air across the country, and there were dozens of parenting, food, and general interest blogs as well. All of the coverage had one thing in common. They all mentioned products, usually 3 to 5 products per story. And so, as you can see, that is a tremendous opportunity for your products and brands. And you can easily take advantage of this media attendance to generate earned media, which is basically free publicity. First, upload press releases about your company and products, especially any new products that you're featuring, in the tools in the exhibitor dashboard. Those press releases will be displayed along with all the other press releases about show exhibitors, and so that becomes a great resource for media who are interested in the show. You can also take advantage of that continually updated registration list that Jefferson and Jen both mentioned. It's provided in your exhibitor tools, and each week we include all of the media who have pre-registered for the show. They appear in the list right alongside of all of the registered buyers, and you can reach out to them directly. There is one key difference. The media who have allowed us to share their email addresses will be displayed along with their email addresses. So it's very easy and very convenient to get in touch with them personally. On site, there are a few things that you want to do as well. You want to bring at least 75 to 100 press releases or press kits to display in our on-site media center. All the media attendees who come to the show have to visit the room at least one time to pick up their show credentials, but many stop in throughout the show to just relax or have a cup of coffee. So here are a couple of pro tips I have about your press kit. If your product is small enough that you can attach a piece of candy or snack to your press kit, you should do it. No loose products can be distributed in the room, but anything that's contained within your press kit is acceptable. Also, don't put your press release solely on a USB or memory stick. The media who attend don't really have an opportunity to pop that stick into a computer and look at your materials until they return to their home or office. And by then, it might be too late for them to visit you and learn more. I know it seems old-fashioned, but believe me, a printed press kit is the best way to approach any trade show. You can also include a memory stick or a USB stick in your press kit if you want, particularly if you have images to share, but don't neglect the printed materials. And also, if your companies or brands are on social media, and I sure hope they are, use the event hashtag SSE17 to connect with others who are talking about the show. You can connect with us, with show management, with NCA, by following and friending us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and in our brand new LinkedIn group as well. Here you can see the handles and the URLs on the bottom of the screen, and they're also on our website. If you tell us about your new products and what's happening in your booth and provide us with other good content, we will use it. We are very prolific during the show with our social media coverage, and so we're always looking for good content to share out there. Thanks so much for your time, and I hope that I will see you on TV. Now, Larry, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you. So there you have it, a number of tools that you can utilize now that are available for you to customize your offerings for the Sweets and Snacks Expo. These are all available on a brand new web page that we have created for your use. And I'll walk you through it. It's real simple to access. It's www.sweetsandsnacks.com. And then if you scroll over on the menu bar at the top to Exhibit, and then you see the Brand and Market Your Presence drop-down, you'll find this page. And on this page, you'll find a variety of resources, beginning with the gray boxes we call bubbles, that if you click on the positive sign, you can learn about each of those features that helps you unlock your brand potential. Additionally, we have video tutorials on pre-event planning tools, your customized microsite for making those complimentary invitations that Jen talked about for your customers, and also the Expo app that'll be coming later this April. You'll also find a link to a promotional video, which is one of 4 videos that will eventually be housed there, that it was sourced as a crowdsource from last year's Expo to generate excitement and enthusiasm for Expo. And it's a really terrific tool for you to just cut and paste a link and send it to your customers to generate the enthusiasm and excitement for the event. And lastly, you'll find 6 short best practice white papers provided by Jefferson Davis's company, Competitive Edge. So speaking of best practices in Jefferson Davis, let's turn it back over to him to share how you can bring both his best practices and these resources together with an activation plan. Jefferson?
Thank you, Larry, and thank you to the entire NCA team. Great overview of the many resources available. And the best advice that really I can give every exhibitor listening to this is to view NCA and the team as your marketing partners. I would suggest that you sit down and identify what your top 3 exhibiting goals are, who your target visitor is, what media you're kind of thinking about doing on your own, and pick up the phone and call them. Great people. They really believe that they're only successful if you succeed. And so it's not kind of these all ideas that you heard that matter. It's going to be what you do. And so let's kind of move into this closing piece, bringing all this together, okay? And the best way I thought about doing this was to kind of put it into 2 examples. So let's say you're a small exhibitor. You're in a 10 by 10 booth. Your floor space and member price is about $3,450. Using the floor space times 3 to 5 budgeting rule of thumb, you should be investing on the low end $10,400, on the 5 times end about $17,000 in the show. From that money, you want to pull out your 15%, which we're going to call your promotion budget. Now, you have a couple of goals. You know, you're a small company, so you want to be visible and you want people to know you exist. You want to drive traffic so you can get good leads that you can convert to sales, and you have a new product. So what would an integrated campaign for you look like? Things that you can do on your own and the relevant or appropriate NCA marketing media. Well, here's my thoughts. Number 1, start with the customer prospect suspect team. You already have the lists. You already have the relationships. Run that 3-touch campaign. Second, definitely take advantage of the complimentary microsite, and you can fold this into your CPS strategy to invite people to the show. Next, remember we said be where the competition isn't. The competition is not in the mailbox. So I would get a hold of the pre-registered list, and I would drill it down by the trade channel, and then I would design a really nice oversized postcard, and I would mail that out. I would spend careful time on writing my listing in a way that doesn't just say who we are and what we do, but makes the attendee want to visit, to put you on their must-see list. Then I would be promoting my participation in all of the social media you already use and leveraging the show's social media channels. Placing the show logo and booth promotions on all of your inbound and outbound communications. And you cannot forget about the new product showcase. If you're going to be in one place, you've got to be there to get your product placed there. And winning that most innovative new product is a highly coveted thing to go for, to make sure you submit. And finally, I would be including my in-store merchandising vehicles in the new destination retail section. And that would be a really good example of an integrated campaign using multiple channels. So let's say that in the next example that you're a medium-large exhibitor. You've got a 20 by 20, so you've got about 14,000 invested in floor. Your budget's going to be 41 to 69,000. So you're going to pull 15%, and you have similar goals. So you're going to do the same things as the small exhibitor, but instead of mailing postcards, you're going to do a higher level invitation, maybe a letter of invitation with a request for appointment and a reward for responding. You're also going to place your new product in the showcase and submit it to the most innovative new products. And then, because visibility is really important to you, you're going to sponsor a buyer welcome gift to give you tremendous visibility and a full-page ad in the show guide. They use that guide not just to navigate the show, but the great thing about advertising in the show guide is it's got a 1-year shelf life, and it's often one of the first places they go after the show to look back for exhibitors. And then finally, you're going to advertise in the pre-show issue because brand awareness is key, and in the show daily. And that would be an example of an integrated campaign for a small and a medium-sized exhibitor using multiple channels, integrated campaign. Now, one of the keys to your campaign is going to be consistency in design theme, messaging, and content. So I just want to give you a quick look at what an integrated campaign would look like. So if you were running print ads in the trade publication and the show directory, full color with a strong headline, a clear call to action, tells exactly what booth you're in. Visit us, booth 1147. And then, remember we said mail. So you're doing an oversized postcard using the person's name and a personalized URL. Then, for your email, you're creating a masthead that carries your message, your call to action, and your branding through all your emails. And then with your microsite, you're setting up where they can go in and engage, set appointments, and print out something to bring to the booth. So it's very important that you have that consistency in design, messaging, and content throughout all of your different channels. Okay? So we've covered a lot of ground here, and yet I feel like we've only skimmed the surface. So I'm going to jump into the question queue right now. We have several questions. Arlene, I want to start with a question that I think might be in your wheelhouse. The question is, what if you're new to this show, or maybe in your second or third year of exhibiting at the event? What advice could you give an exhibitor in that situation?
Well, either way, I think whether you're new or you're coming back to join us, you really have to consider that you're one of 750 plus companies. So, and it's a good idea to look to see who your competition is out there and how can you stand out, because it's not just about buying that booth. So whether you're new or old, I know, make sure your staff is trained, make sure you've planned. This is not just about coming and setting up a booth and everyone will come. It really is, as you stated, Jefferson, about making a plan and sticking to it. And as far as getting your name out there, simplicity, make sure the directory listing is complete. going forward and seeing what's going on internationally. Are you planning to export? Find out about that. Get your attendee list. If you can get that list, but you need to know who your target is. Don't get the list of 7,000. Get your target buyer and make sure you know who you want to contact. Because if you leave this show after 3 days with 10 really good contacts, then it is well worth the investment. Because imagine the investment you'd have to make to go see those 10, especially if you're a smaller exhibitor. How hard would that be? So my advice is, whether you're new or old, you still have to plan. You still have to get your imprint out there, make sure people know you're at the show, and take advantage of all the tools that our staff has talked about today to make your exhibit the very best it can be.
All right, thank you, Arlene. Jen, we've got a few questions on the attendee list. Here they are. So the first question is, are the exhibitors notified when the list is available, and does the list include emails and phone numbers?
Thanks, Jefferson. So the list has information so that you can send a postcard or mailing to the attendee. However, we do not include information such as the email and phone number. As you can imagine, they don't like that information released. If you can imagine 700, 800 plus exhibitors trying to contact them, they may never come back to our show. So we do want to respect their privacy, but still give you a way to get in contact with them. Also, it is searchable by trade show. So if you're in a particular channel that you want to target, you can sort the list that way too. I would also like to bring up that we recommend that the closer into the show, the better to send your mailing, and that is because, like many other events out there, the critical mass of registration happens within the last 6 to 8 weeks of the expo. So your best bet would be to pull that list somewhere around the end of March to the beginning of April, and then send out your mailing then.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen. Susan, I've got a couple questions for you on the media list. Number one, who do they contact for the list? Second would be, how do they know which media they should engage with? And the third part is, where can they get more information about preparing their press kits for the on-site press room?
Great. A couple of great questions there. So the current registration list, so media registration opens in middle of March. So sometime by the end of March, the media who have registered for this year will start showing up in the same registration list where all the buyers who have registered show up. Now, if you'd like to take a look at last year's registration list, I'd be happy to provide that for you. That one won't be posted online because we don't want it to be confusing for anyone. But if you send me an email, susan.whiteside@candyusa.com, I'm happy to provide that list for you. And then also, any media list that you're already working with is also a great list to target as well, by the way. They do need to register. Media need to register if they want to come to the show, but it's very easy and it's free, and we're happy to walk anyone through that. In terms of what kind of press kit would really stand out in the press room, I'm happy to walk anyone through that as well. So if that is something that people would like a little bit of extra help on, I sure would encourage them to reach out to anyone at NCA. I can get them in touch with me or contact me directly, and we can talk about some options for them.
Thank you, Susan. Jen, I got a quick question on, where do I find instructions on using the personalized microsite?
Well, there's two different ways. You should have received an email from me directly, which would have a link to actually your dashboard where you do the setup, as well as a copy of your microsite, a link, so there'll be two links in there. I'll be sending that out later this week as well. Also, if you do log into your dashboard, there is a way to access your microsite right inside the dashboard.
Okay, thank you. So I've got a few questions here. I think I'll take them in one bundle, and it's really about how far out should we start? Well, when you're using trade press media, especially print publications, you're going to want to be at least 3 months out and have a 3-month, 2-month, 1 month prior to show type approach. But when you're using direct marketing media like email, social media, mail, telephone, the microsite, you know, if you start in the 60 days and start working down, maybe at 60 days, 30 days, and 15 days prior, you'll be right in the sweet spot for that. And I've got one last question, given the time we have. Does anyone have any advice from NCA on the amount of samples that a small exhibitor in a 10 by 10 booth should bring? How many? And is it better for them to have them packaged for takeaway or to let the buyer sample the product live at the booth?
Relative to samples, what we can say is recognize that this is your opportunity to put the product directly in people's hands. And we would suggest that while you want to be judicious in the number of samples you bring, you want to be enough to get them in the right hands. And we hear typically in a 10 by 10, people bringing about 3,000 of them. Again, it varies widely by the type of product and the package size and so on, but not a bad starting place. And if you'd like some more guidance for that, we'd recommend speaking to Teresa Anthony, who has directed the show and has been involved in many years to see what works and to help you tailor it to your situation.
All right. Well, thank you, Larry. And we are at the close. We're out of time, so I want to toss it back to Larry for closing comments from NCA.
Well, first of all, I want to reiterate the thank you to you for both joining us today, but more importantly for committing to Sweets and Snacks Expo. And hopefully the tools that we've given you today give you a lot of resources that will make you even more successful. However, like in any session, it's not what we know, but what we do with what we know. So we urge you to take advantage of those resources that are available. And I just refer you back to the resource page on www.sweetsandsnacks.com and click over on the exhibit menu, and on the drop-down, look for the brand opportunities page, and you'll see all of those tools that are available to you. The red represents links to resources, and again, that is your resource. Over and above your operational resource page that you have, these are specific to helping you unlock your brand potential and to maximize your return on investment. So as a result, the attendees maximize their return on experience. So with that, thank you to everybody for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in May.